Welcome back, by the way. I have absolutely missed you. It's been a very, very long time. Very long summer as well. So let's talk about why I absolutely abhor and why I think the new Lord of the Rings TV show is really the most bland, visually appealing nonsense that has ever been released, and that has been released in this entire year. I waited for it to finish. And finally it did, and when it did, a week after, or 2 weeks, I'm not particularly certain, I'm always late to this stuff, I watched it. And I have to say, it's not good. It's not good, and this is why money does not equal art. Money does not equal art. It never did, it never will, and it will never ever change. And this is what I mean when you spend so much money on freaking visual effects, audio engineering, and audio quality, and music, and orchestra, and beautiful visuals that build the world, but never really spend much time doing the concrete work of writing the characters. Because this story is bogged down. It is jammed, crammed, stuffed, littered, bogged, completely through and through, literally vomiting out all of this nonsense because of its characters. And all of its characters are basic archetypes. You have a bad romance, you have a curious little chick, and you have a dark lord, and you have a badass that will never give up no matter what. These characters will always occupy these archetypes, and they will never really stray too far from them, because you see, a story like this was built around the plot. This is why it's not good, because a good story fundamentally has to be built around the character, and the character making a different decision primarily because of what they believe right now. Either it's a lie or a truth. Like, for example, in the Breaking Bad or in the new Lord of the Rings, you have characters acting on the lies that they believe, okay? On the anger that is festering within. And you have these characters that are much better written, that are way better motivated, that are not simply fulfilling into a freaking archetype that you can see tomorrow making a different decision. You might say, oh, but this is the Lord of the Rings. It was always like this. Wrong. It never was like this. It has never been. It currently is not. This TV show made it that way because they skipped the hard writing that is necessary to make a good story. It's not about money. Money doesn't make a good story. Money never did. Money never did. Money doesn't make a good story. Wait a minute. I remember reading so many articles about this, and each one of these articles explained how much money they were spending on this stuff. They spent this much, they spent this much, they spent this much, they spent this much. And spending this much doesn't make a good story, okay? They spent absurd amount of money on Batman versus Superman. They spent an absurd amount of money on all sorts of movies, and those movies really were never good. Because you see, do you really know how basic it is? All you need is a writer, a pen, a page, a blank page, and sit them in a quiet corner. That's it. People don't want to accept the reality that a good story is really not done or not written by a high budget. It's written by some random bloke or lady sitting in a dark corner just, etching on a paper or smashing a keyboard until something good comes out. It's about mental labor. It's within the human. This is why the artist is the integral part. It's not the banker. It's not the freaking loans you get from the bank. It's not that, it's the writer. This is why I think many people were expecting the Lord of the Rings new TV show to be good, but it wasn't. They expected it to be good because of the money that was spent. But you see, it doesn't cost $10 million to hire a freaking writer. It doesn't. It never did. This was never the case. A writer, 50,000, 100,000, even $500,000 if they're a gigastar. Maybe $1 million if it's J.R.R. Martin or like Brandon Sanderson. But that's it. That's it. That's really it. And people don't want to accept the reality that a writer is not expensive. but a good writer is rare. And good writing does not require money. It just requires a writer. This is why I really hoped that this was not just a money hype and that people were hyping up simply because they heard news of how much money that was being spent on this. But I want to get back to the main point, which is The Lord of the Rings was never like this. It was never this bad. What's good about this story is the visuals, the orchestra, the music, basically, the whatever you call it, the orchestra. It was brilliant. It was amazing. You had the audio as well, was amazing. The world building was amazing. I felt like Middle Earth was a place full of magic, full of wonder, full of, like that. It's just beautiful. It's downright beautiful, okay? In fact, it's way more beautiful than, I would say, the original trilogy, okay, of movies. However, the original trilogies of movies, not only were they visual masterpieces, okay, they were writing masterpieces. Why? Because the characters actually make decisions that are not predictable by a simple archetype. For example, take a look at Boromir, and I'm going to spoil some of the original trilogy. You have Boromir who, as you watch the first movie or you read the first book, in the final 2 chapters of the first book, or toward the end of the book, first movie, he makes a decision in order to seize the ring for himself, right? Exactly. As you can see throughout the story, he gets corrupted by the ring, okay? What does this mean? Boromir has a negative character arc. There is the lie versus the truth. Or there is the theme that power corrupts, and it corrupts absolutely, okay? There is also another way to take a look at it, which is a simple, want versus need. So does Boromir need the ring, or does he want it? And he wants it, but he doesn't need it, okay? Because the ring itself is what corrupts and causes these problems. So no one needs the ring, but everyone is after it, because you see, you don't need power. Everyone is after it, however, and it corrupts and it causes problems. This is what I mean, the pursuit of power. The story is about fundamentally war. And so you see the characters are making these decisions, okay? They make these decisions. They take these decisions. They are not necessarily predictable. You have Smeagol or Gollum, right? He is also not only internally corrupted by the ring, but he's physically corrupted by the ring. You have Frodo, who is also corrupted by the ring. And you have Bilbo, who also showcases his desire to get back the ring, okay? All of these characters, except for like Samwise and Gandalf, they are a lot of the time in the story going through character arcs. And this is why the original trilogy was very beautiful. And many people called the Hobbit trilogy empty, okay? They just called it a cash grab. And what this TV show is a more cash grab, okay? It's another cash grab. It's not a story. It never was, because remember, what came out while this was being marketed was the amount of money they spent on it, okay? It never was about the story. It never was about respecting Tolkien, because that man was genuinely a good writer, okay? He at least respected the foundations of a good character writing, okay? And this is what I'm talking about. When you are writing a story, it's not about money. So I really do not like this story. Why? Because the characters are vapid. I expected something from the characters on a basic level. The first episode with Galadriel is the only one that has some redeemable quality, because in the first beginning episode, Galadriel is tested. She is literally going to heaven, okay? But she decides to fight for the right thing, okay? Meaning Galadriel's character is well tested in the first episode. Beyond that, it's the same Galadriel. Nothing ever changes. It doesn't matter. You have a stupid romance and a stupid curious chick, and that's it. The story is about visuals. It's about spectacle. They are trying to entertain you like a Marvel movie. But The Lord of the Rings has never been, never will be, a Marvel spectacle only. It has to be about the thematic content of the original story, okay? So you have to respect that. Also, the world building of the elves is not very accurate, okay? I know some, like, remember, I'm not someone who has gone into Silmarillion. I haven't done that. I didn't take a look into it. I did not check the world building for, I don't know the lore of the world building, okay? I only read the books and that's it. I am a normie, okay? But a normie, casual reader can easily spot that there is something off with the characterization of the elves, because elves usually don't behave like that. They are supposed to be like some sort of an ascended humanity, like a humanity beyond humanity, if you will. Exactly, they're not supposed to behave like, they're more angelic, okay? This is why they literally have a heaven, you know, all that awesome stuff, okay? They live longer, they're basically transcended, okay? They are above humanity, and they shouldn't be down in these squabbles. But I suppose I'm not gonna really beat them on that one, because again, creative decisions have to be taken. Goodness, I'm sweating. That's how much pissed off I am. What's good about it? I would say everything else. If you just want to be entertained, spectacle, basic characters, basic plot, basic, editing, you will get it. Visual feast, you'll get it. Amazing music, you are going to get that. So, if the objective with Amazon Prime was to make a visually appealing, entertaining piece that is really good on a fundamental level, for the plot and for the world building, not for the characters, then they have done a good job. I would give them a 10 out of 10. But if they were trying to write it generally, like some sort of a follow-up to the trilogy or to the books, or something that respects Tolkien, I would say a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I hope that you enjoyed this review, a rant review of the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. It's not a show that I would recommend watching unless you want to be just entertainment, mindless entertainment, like another Marvel movie. You can sit down for it and you'll have a good time. I guarantee you'll have a good time if it's just, some mindless entertainment. So, tell me what you think of this show down in the comments below. Have a nice day. Bye.